I don't know. We going live or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're with no survivors.
Yeah, with no survivors. Yeah, crashing this plane.
Going live with no survivors.
You ever
With no
you ever have
survivors. Now I'm gonna have to practice it because
yeah,
I
crashing this
didn't.
plane.
With no survivors.
Yeah. Do you ever have like a smell of something that like you can't get out of your like it doesn't go away? Like okay, here's an example. I had a like a week. This is like a while ago, maybe like 6, 7 years ago. Right after I got out the army, I went to Vegas and like was hanging out with a bunch of my buddies that had moved there after they got out of the army too. So we were doing like cocaine and like drinking a shit ton of like screwdrivers, like orange juice and vodka and then Midori sours. And it was awful, man. Like I like react so much that night, and like the next morning it was like bad. Like I don't think I've ever vomited so much in my entire life because we were mixing a lot of drugs and alcohol. But to this day, I can't like not smell orange juice and not get like a little queasy for some because of the screwdriver. It makes me all you know
I
kind of
remember.
grody.
I
It's
remember
like
we used to drink. We used to drink orange or what do you call them? Screwdrivers. When we get that real cheap alcohol. Remember?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember we used to get that cheap Apple
Yeah.
alcohol? What was it? It was like
It's called apple corn.
that's right. What kind of alcohol was that? It
I
was
would
was it like
schnapps maybe.
oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, schnapps. Yeah, that sounds about right. We did drink schnapps. You know what I used to do? Here's something funny. I used to work at a video game store before I enlisted. I worked at Game Crazy. Did you guys have Game Crazy? In California, we had these things called Hollywood Video. They're
Yeah.
essentially blockbuster. Yeah, yeah. Am I boring you? They had these things that were like basically like Blockbuster Video, but Hollywood Video had these like GameStop style stores inside of called Game Crazy. And like I used to, it was still to this day my favorite job because I was the assistant manager. I'd come in and like I'd show up late, right? I'd open the store, I'd show up late, and my worker would be like waiting for me, and I'd usually be like hung over. And so like I'd come in, I'd go do the bank deposit, and then I'd come back, and then I'd go into the like office and then I'd close the door and sleep for like an hour and a half while the worker, the minion did the work. And then I'd come out and like I'd act like I had done like a bunch of paperwork, even though, I'd be like ridiculously tired. And like then I'd go to lunch, right? And then I'd rush home. And what I'd do is I'd get like a big tall cup and then I'd fill half of it with milk and then the other half with butterscotch schnapps and I'd just fucking pound that shit. And then I'd head back to work like drunk as shit. And then I'd like open a game, like I'd open a brand new game or like a game that I wanted to play, and then I'd put it in like those little demo stations because we had these like four demo stations with like each game system at the time, which I think was like the GameCube, PlayStation 2, um, and then the Xbox, and then whatever the other one was. And like then I'd open a new game and then just play video games all day. That's what I did. Like I didn't even work when I worked there. To this day, the best job I of my life because I literally did nothing and got paid to like talk to people about video games all day. It's like the best. It's like the best to this day. The people are already asking, what's with the Pokemon
Yeah.
codes? Did you
Yeah.
notice that?
You say the people as if it
Yeah,
wasn't just VS.
yeah.
Not entirely sure who some of these characters are. But we welcome you because we love new people in the chat. So
Mm.
always a pleasure. Let's do this real quick early on so that we can make sure that we're ahead of the game. This is like I think this is going to be our new thing. We got to like real quick drop who's here and say
Oh,
our hellos, and then as people pop in, we just kind of go, "Hey, what's up, Megabit?" Who decided to show up 10, 15, 20 an hour late sometimes. So
oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
true that.
let's do this. Hey Johnny, hey VS, hey J Coop, hey Buzz, hey Acid Draposi, and drop. Yeah, okay. I want to make sure I got that one right. Hey, let's fish already, and who could forget our little angel Mike in Manitoba. Welcome to
Yeah,
the chat. I purposely skipped over him in my when I was writing him down because
yeah.
I wanted to make it a point to say thank you, Mike, for
I was
sharing
almost
the
gonna call you
link.
out. I was almost gonna be like, "Come on, man! What about
How?
Mike in
Yeah,
Manitoba?
like he's right.
That's our
He's the
guy."
guy who shared our thing. Yeah, before we even went live, you were like, he's like our number one fan. Him, and then you were like, him, ah, and J2, ah, like you were doing.
Skiing.
Yeah, you were. Well, this is not skiing. This is like when you're going down the slopes and you've lost control,
Oh
right?
yeah, or like the
This
periscope.
this is
Like
skiing, right?
yeah, like
Yeah.
the periscope from like you're trying to look down the periscope
No, that's this
from
when
a
you got like a big
submarine.
one, except for it gets in your eye.
No, no, like when you're in a submarine, you got to pull down the periscope.
Oh, yeah, I know, I got you. So you're doing this
Yeah,
number,
yeah.
but still, it kind of like ends up getting in your eyes, and there's
Yeah.
nothing good about that. There's nothing good about taking a load in the eye.
No.
Um,
Well, I
yeah.
would.
So the Pokemons. Do you want to talk about the Pokemons, V?
Yeah, well, we were talking. It's funny. We usually get like 15, 20, 30 minutes before the show, and we're like, so what do we do all logging about? And then it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, and then like there's a point when one of us is like trying to come up with jokes and they don't usually land. So then we're like, let's not do that. And so we were talking today, this is kind of weird because I was thinking I've been doing a lot of walking and like I'm exercise. I've been doing this fasting thing, and because I'm walking so much, I'm playing a shit ton of Pokemon Go, which Tom and I are like buds on Pokemon Go. Like we send each other gifts every day, and then like prepare yourselves because we're probably gonna nerd out.
Yeah.
Probably gonna
Like
nerd out on this.
if you thought maybe we were cool people secretly,
Yeah,
you're about to find out the
yeah.
contrary.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like not cool at all. Like total nerd. So I've been walking a lot and doing this Pokemon Go thing, and then I was even thinking today. I was like, man, it sucks because really Tom is the only person that like I send gifts to on Pokemon Go, or even like have a friend on Pokemon Go. And it's kind of like dumb. And I was like, man, I bet if I just told the people that watch my show, that watch our show, they'd add us. And then it was funny because I hadn't mentioned that to Tom, and then Tom goes today when we were talking about the duo before we even talked about the duologue, he goes, "Do you want to talk about Pokemon Go?" And I was like, "What the like? That's the weirdest thing because I'm literally like was just thinking like that's what I want to do is like mention like add me as your friend. So if you guys have Pokemon Go and you're an avid player, like add us, add Tom and I. I'll send you gifts every day. This is what I do. I have this 6 mile route that I walk every day in the morning, and then I do another 3 mile route in the evening. So I'm walking like a shit ton during the day. So I've always got gifts. I'll send them out to you. I know it's nerdy as shit, but I will send them to you every single day, bro. Like a boss. Tom, what do you got to say about our nerd shit?
Uh, well, actually, I'm adding these pictures real quick. I totally forgot to add two of the pictures that we were going to talk about. So
This
I'm real quick adding them. So just talk
yeah, yeah.
amongst yourselves still a little bit more
Yeah,
about Pokemans.
this acid dropsy guy, he said, I only have ex-girlfriends on Pokemon Go. And I relate to that because like the other people that are on my Pokemon Go, I don't get gifts from them anymore because they're like ex-girlfriends that don't really like me anymore. So I'm like, they're those ones that like, oh, she hasn't opened your gift, meaning she probably deleted me. And I'm like, yeah, you can hate me all you want, but the least you could do is send me a Pokemon gift every now and then. What's so wrong with that, man? The worst part about being the only person I know, like around me that plays Pokemon is that like I don't have anybody to trade with, and like I have like these 3 researches that I'll never be able to complete because I don't have people to trade with. And then gay ass Pokemon Go doesn't want to let you fucking trade over like miles away. So Tom and we've got this like ultra friend status
Yeah, we're
and
lucky friends.
lucky friends, and we can't even trade to each other because we live on one side of the hemisphere and on the other side of the hemisphere.
Yeah. The funny thing about lucky trades, if anybody doesn't know what that means, it means like you're guaranteed to get, well, you're going to get a lucky Pokemon, right? But you're guaranteed to get a 3-star, and that's one of the things V and I always do. Like, there are people who will focus on the combat power, right? There are people who focus on any number of weird things, and then there's us because we're like, it has to be a 3-star or bust. So we're like catching hundreds of the same damn Pokemon, trying to find a 3-star and just throwing everyone else out. and then we'll eventually get a 3-star, and then we send a screenshot to the other one, like, guess who I just leveled up because I had like 400 candy for this guy who I couldn't find a friggin' 3-star for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where was I was supposed to answer a question or whatever
I don't
about
know.
Pokemon.
Do you feel like a level of shame like talking about this much nerd stuff?
No,
Like is there is there
not at all.
is there any feeling of there's no feeling of shame or anything? There's not like, oh man, like you know what's funny? Like I watch like I'll watch videos like I'm a nerd. I play a ton of video games and every now and then I'll watch like, the dudes that like they explain shit and they're like, "All right, check this out, blah 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 blah." And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's good information. I didn't know that. Now I know how to beat this boss or now I know how to do whatever, right?" But like that's what they do. And like some of these guys, man, like they get like sponsored by like Twitch or like fucking what's the other one? Um
I don't know. Your
yeah,
guess
I
is as
guess
good as mine.
I guess I'm not as like nerdy as I thought. But these guys are out there like doing it, dude. Like that's their life, man. Like that's what they do, And like when I get a little nerdy, I feel like, oh, I don't want. Yeah, and what's funny is like when I was younger and I like gamed out hard, I used to tell people that I made nerd look cool. Like I make I make being a nerd look cool.
No, you just made cool, like you just dress cool, but you're totally a nerd. And
Yeah.
I will speak to that at great length. By the way, welcome to the chat after orc, Ubiquitous DAK and House Cat, who all three of them are actually really cool people on Twitter if you don't already follow them.
Oh,
And I
okay.
don't know if I'm allowed to share their information or whatever on here,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
they're
they should
friends of
be
mine.
following me. I have my fucking Twitter shit is there's a goddamn thing on my
There's a ticker
image
there.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a thing for you to look at it. If you aren't following me on Twitter and I haven't followed you back, it's your fault. All right? Because I know at the end of the show, I'm going, "Hey bro, follow us on Twitter and be like those douchebags on the fucking I'm always saying
Smash that motherfucking like button, and make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. Blah 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 blah. Whatever.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Douchebag.
Assholes. All right. So yeah. So that
Yeah.
was that. Right. That's the whole thing with Pokemon. We're gonna leave that up for the rest of the episode. So anybody who hasn't already, uh, um, all right. So after work, you're gonna make me look. Well, I think that's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's at after work. And it's like the idiot. You'll recognize him when you see the thing. He's got like a weird little avi of like I assume it's a cat. I think like I look at it, it's like a weird cartoony cat that's all sprawled out or whatever. But yeah, and then his name's got idiot, and it changes with the weather. So yeah, follow him because he's a funny dude, and he's always talking about how like his tweets aren't funny, but they totally are. And that's I typically I feel like a weirdo because like I'll go down the thing and he'll be like rapid firing tweets, and I'll like them as they pop up. And I'm like, this dude's gonna think I'm in love with him, and I want to fuck him. You know what I mean? Like that's my
Yeah.
biggest fear,
Yeah.
or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's just for clarification, it's true. All right.
You do
Um,
want to
Could
fuck.
have taken that a different direction. I didn't.
Yeah.
I went full homo.
Good
So
mode.
do your thing. What do you say normally, V? When I do some gay stuff,
Gay.
there it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Gay.
Um, so yeah, so that's the Pokemon. It's going to be there if you haven't added us already, which I saw VS. We appreciate you adding us. I don't have a whole lot of friends either, and the ones that I do have, it says like 2+ days since they last interacted
Yeah.
with the thing, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
a lot of good that does me. And these friggin' guys from Japan or whatever, who I'm friends with, who again, I'm a lucky friend with some guy in Japan, and
Yeah.
I can't do anything with that. I'm not going to Japan for anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any plans in Japan anytime soon. So I do want to talk about something. Here's our political portion of the show before
Oh,
we get into
okay.
the fun
We're gonna
stuff, right?
get political with it.
Let's get political to some degree because it
All
doesn't,
right.
as far as I'm concerned, this doesn't count as politics, right? The Libertarian Party, right? They
Yeah.
have all sorts of really cool things that they can do with that, but they don't. In fact, they do the complete opposite. They always put the worst possible people in position to be the Libertarian Party candidates. Do you know who they are? You know who they were last year?
Wasn't it like Ross Perot
Well,
and
pretty much. It might as well have been.
Alfred Bumquist?
Yeah, that's the guy. No, it was. It might as well have been a
Yeah.
made-up name because the dude scored like -1% of the national vote. It was Gary
Jesus.
Johnson and a dude named Bill Weld, if I remember. But their campaign thing was Johnson Weld, right? So it would have been funny to have a President Johnson because of all the
Yeah.
dick jokes that you could have had. It would have been like having
Absolutely.
Tricky Dick again.
Yeah, definitely.
But this
Yeah.
year they put these two troublemakers, right? They put Joe Jorgensen, I believe is her name. I'm not looking at the names.
Her name. She has a man's name.
Yeah, J.O. which
Oh,
kinda,
J.O.
makes
Like,
it.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Jorgensen and some dude named Cohen, right? His last name's Cohen, Spike Cohen. All right. And the funny thing, you look at these pictures, and these are the official pictures, right? Like the dude's got a podcast. Like his only picture is of him doing his podcast. And
this guy is the vice president running mate for the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
There's no way you can take this guy seriously. He looks like fucking, what's that gay vlogger dude? What's the one? What's
the one from last night?
Like Ninja. Yeah, what is it?
No, I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Ninja? Yeah, the Gaytheist Manifesto.
Yeah, Ninja. Maybe that's what it is. Ninja.
Yeah, he does a lot of Fortnite shit. But yeah, these two right here, and I'm not too worried about the chick, right? Because you can't get elected as a chick. So
yeah,
you can just go ahead and scratch her off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking that with Joe Biden, like putting his running mate as a broad, like he picked a broad for his running mate, and that's like, you gotta like even if you're a Democrat man, like there's gotta be somebody going, look, dude, but Joe Biden is an old ass fucker. He's not gonna last very long, and you know what that means? That means if he croaks and he's president, then she becomes president. Do they get that? Like that's not gonna fly, man.
She's already vetting her vice president candidates right now. But yeah, so I want to concentrate on this guy, Spike Cohen.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're okay. But yeah, what pissed me off immediately was I was like, well, let me find an official picture of this guy. This is it, like him in front of the microphone, and then you look him up, and on Wikipedia, his name is actually Jeremy Cohen, but he goes by Spike. And you know where he got the name Spike from?
Where did he get it from?
I know you know where it's. I appreciate you pretending it was pretending it wasn't rhetorical. Cohen is a podcaster on Muddied Waters Media. He purports to have named himself Spike after the character from the 1986 My Little Pony, the movie. Like, this dude is a brony. Legitimately a brony.
She's a brownie. Oh my god, that is the gayest thing. like to me, if you're like, okay, dude, like I don't even know what to say about that. Like what? Like what the
speak.
What the fuck? Like bottom line, what the fuck? You're a grown man and you like My Little Pony? I don't get that, dude. I'm sorry. That means that here are the things that logic tells me about this man that he's a brony, right? Here's the things that logically I know about him based on that information. He's probably a furry. He probably likes to have sex with people dressed up as animals. There's a high chance that that's the case. Other thing, he probably tucks his dick between his legs.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And wears thongs like on a regular basis. Those are things I'm going to say about him, and I'm not going to take it back. I don't care if it's slandered. I think that's the bottom line.
You've planted your opinion on this topic, and you're not taking it back. I appreciate that about you.
There's to it, man.
You have a certain level of conviction that is admirable, really. Yeah. It's hard not to say something mean about this guy. As a matter of fact, let's do that. Say something nice about this guy.
Oh, well, he kind of resembles Nick Kroll. You know Nick Kroll, right? Mm-hmm. The comedian.
Yeah.
His hairline is adequate. What does he say on Flight of the Conchords when he's like trying to think of compliments and he's all, your beard is good.
Yeah. Jermaine.
Yeah, it's just something about your beard being good, and it's like a compliment about you. That's all I got, man. It's his has bad taste in glasses. He's got a Jew nose. I mean, I'm going bad here. I can't even get. I
V,
can't
come
even
on.
Jew nose.
I'll do this. I'll say this about him, because I can't say anything nice about his physical appearance. There's just
Oh, yeah.
nothing to be said. I can't even agree with the hairline because I mean, look at how long his forehead. He looks like a Frankenstein, right? A little bit, and
I was
like
gonna say he does. One good thing I can say is he has that gaunt, angular jaw. You know, that's kind of a lucky thing to have, right?
he's got
But
something.
the sad thing is like, okay, this is his this is his presidential photo, and his mouth is agape. He couldn't even close his mouth for a photo.
You know, like I have to wonder what he normally looks like because you know the pictures that you share that you're willing to share on the internet first and
Yeah.
foremost, and second of all, like for your presidential picture, it's got to be your best one, right?
Yeah.
And for this dude to share this picture, like I have to wonder what some of his other stuff. But I'll say this: what my good thing that I'll say about Spike here,
Yeah.
this brony,
His
uh,
mouth breather. He's definitely a mouth breather.
he can breathe
You
at
can
least.
gather that. Yeah, he's got plenty of orifices on his face. Certainly, certainly.
Mike's got a good one. At least he's not transgender, I think. So that's pretty good. I'll say this: he is clearly popular enough in some community uh, in podcasting that he caught the ear of the libertarian presidential nominee. All right,
Yeah,
so that means something to somebody, I assume. Not to me, but
this
I'm
is
sure somebody somewhere is like, "That's
it's
impressive."
it's so asinine. Like, how do you take this seriously? And then what's even more, like, you talk about like how you can't take these people seriously, and then you go, well, this is what you got. It's like, yeah, you're not even like the Democrats aren't even this focused. Like the least they got like somebody they can kind of prop up with strings. These people are just you look at them and you go, oh,
What do you think about
oh,
Kamala Harris, V? Do you think that she's like,
a
let me say
Karen.
this,
She's probably a Karen.
her
Isn't
personality is abrasive, and
isn't
she is an awful person.
Didn't she put away a lot of black people?
She did, yeah. Between
She's
her and Joe Biden, they are responsible for more incarcerated black people than anyone else in the history of the United States. But the Democrats, they don't care about that. It's in a Black
no,
Lives
it's
Matter only
it's
matters when it's
imagery, man. It's all
something
about
else.
the image. They just want to.
I don't want to go
They
down
got
this road, V. With the road I want to go down is Kamala Harris a little sexy? Is she kind of sexy? Like,
oh,
would you say
you asking me
she's
if I'd
pretty?
put it in her? Is that what you're asking me?
That's pretty much
Yeah,
what I'm asking.
I definitely would. Yeah, yeah. I mean, all of that crap politics aside, I'd do her. I'd pee in her butt.
Nice.
You remember that phrase, pee in her
I
butt?
do. I remember it fondly.
What's the other one?
Um,
Suck a fart out of her seat cushion. I'd drink her bath water.
I'd smell her bus seat. Um, yeah, I agree. And she's a whore. Like
Yeah.
we know this. So there's a history of her, putting her legs up, going down on guys. The problem is for guys like us is we don't really have anything. We don't have political power to offer her. So
Right.
she's not gonna fuck us. Is the thing. And
No,
I'm
yeah,
just gonna
it's
put
true.
that out right now, V. You're not gonna fuck Kamala Harris.
No.
If anyone could
Yeah.
do it though, it would be you. I believe that.
Yeah. I feel like that's a challenge. I feel like
Well, you're not going to fuck Kamala
Yeah.
Harris. Now
Yeah.
you have to go out and do it, right? So here's what I'm going to say about the Libertarian Party because we're already coming up on. Oh, you know what? We started late, so I have a couple minutes. Here's what I'm going to say about third party voting. Okay, and this will be it for politics. All right, for the
All
rest
right.
of
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
until abortion comes up, and then
Yeah.
we'll just go off on a
Then the
tangent.
whole episode is just
It
about
derails
abortion.
immediately.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Third party voters, okay.
Mhm.
Right now we have our two party system, Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian. They usually give somebody up every year to compete, but no, they never like break 1%, right?
Mhm.
And then people bitch about it immediately after the election. They say, well, this two-party system is some bullshit. And, if you would vote for a libertarian, if everybody who said that they were throwing their vote away, or who didn't vote, or because they didn't want to vote for these two assholes, or if everyone who said that they're only voting for this particular major party candidate, if they would actually come together and vote for a third party candidate, we would have a legitimate third party possibility. But the thing is, those people, they tap out as soon as the election is over and their candidate can't break 1% of the national vote. They just quit immediately, right? And they for 3 years, and then when it comes time for election season, because frankly, you don't even hear about these candidates really until about what are we, 6 months out from the election?
I wouldn't have known about it if you hadn't even told it to me.
Right, if it wasn't someone hilarious like Spike Cohen and Joe Jorgensen, is this your champion?
Yeah, the brony is the jabroni brony.
Yeah,
the brony jabroni.
A business lady and a podcaster who's also a brony. So here's my thing that I encourage people to do, because this is my libertarian brothers and sisters, and the Green Party folks and the constitutional conservative folks, or the constitutional constitutional party candidates, and all those guys. These are all there are some merits to their platforms or whatever, and there may be third party candidates that I would vote for. No, let me rephrase that. I would never vote for one of these third-party candidates that has ever been presented, ever. But there are parties that I align myself politically with, who are third-party parties, right? Third parties. And but nobody ever puts anybody forward. And I think the problem is it has to do with them tapping out on the first week in November, when their candidate doesn't win or doesn't even get recognized, barely even gets any kind of recognition. I think the Babylon Bee and the Onion did a great job of doing satire on Gary Johnson last election, but that's it. You don't ever hear about them. They don't ever make the debate stage because they don't make enough in the polls, whatever. And I think the problem is that we start too late as third party supporters, right? You don't start until 6 months out from the election. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, so our candidates are these people who are awful. Right. And it's because nobody worthwhile steps forward in the beginning and says, hey, I'm thinking about running for Libertarian Party. I'm thinking about running for Green Party. Hey, I'm thinking about running for this, whatever.
They're not just terrible. They're they're like NPCs.
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's what
they
somebody
picked
said.
NPCs.
Gosh, I wish I would have. Ubiquitous DAK poster said, these are Oblivion random characters. And
yeah,
really
exactly.
no
That's exactly what they are.
But if you start, instead of tapping out right after the election, right after election day, if you actually got out there and started pushing these third party things, and not in a, well, see what happens when you don't vote for a third party, and rubbing it in everybody's face, but if you just went out and told all these people because I deal with a lot of people who are like, oh, see what happens when you don't give us a chance with our third party shit candidates or whatever. If you took all those people, and I'm sure you've encountered your fair share, if each one of them just told 2 people every month over the course of the 4 years up to the presidency, or even 3 years, so that get them to the election season, if they just told 2 people about third parties and just said, hey, listen, I know it's November 2020 and the election just happened, and I know you're probably tired, but here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about, I understand you were frustrated with these candidates. Let me tell you about the Green Party or whatever, or what I recommend to you is check out some of these other parties that in the platforms they have. You should absolutely look into them. And if we were to create just a conversation about these third parties, rather than, we'll see what happens when you motherfuckers pick Hillary Clinton, or when you pick Donald Trump, you end up getting whatever, instead of attacking people for their political views, just say, help them, and if you did that to 2 people every month, and those people went on and told 2 people, and so on and so forth, you would spread like wildfire, and we could get rid of this 2-party system. I'm not saying we would get rid of one of the parties, but it's happened throughout history, American history. Parties have just gone away because all of a sudden another party came along. Hell, the Republican Party is only 150 years old, really, as far as like what we understand it to be today. There were other parties that were the majority parties, and but yeah, that's my soapbox moment. I encourage you, if you don't like the two-party system, do something about it and stop crying. All right, get out there and actually don't focus on this election. This election is lost for you, third-party voters. But next election, it's not too late. And with that, we can move on to the actual topic at hand. V, what are we talking about today?
Well, here's the thing: is I mean, I guess I can give it kind of a what do you call it? A preface. I can do the preamble. We have been continuing with our Swingin' Dick series. As you guys recall, we've been doing these, what do you call it, mystery type things where somebody's missing or something happened that there's no possible explanation. And then we, speculate and go, it could have been this, it could have been that, and, whatever. So we came up with one, or Tom came up with one this week about a missing city. I don't know. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
I thought it was. I thought it was like
the screen for
a bunch of people, a bunch of people disappeared or something.
Yeah, it's right here on the screen. If you want to look at the screen.
No, I pulled up the Wikipedia.
Okay. The topic.
I'll read it. I'll read it, and then I'll pretend like I already knew it. Like I'll read it, and then pretend like I'm not reading and act like I kind of knew this. Do you want me to?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Do that.
The Roanoke.
You know what? I lied. We forgot to do something.
Oh, the shot.
Yep.
Right?
To V, betting down Kamala Harris.
Oh, yeah. Cheers. I would wax that ass till she show me what she's working.
I dripped a bunch of it. I didn't have a shot glass, so I had to use the lid to my cocktail shaker. I don't know what happened to my shot glasses.
So the Roanoke colony, am I saying that right? No, Roanoke colony?
Not.
Roanoke? Roanoke?
Roanoke.
Roanoke. That's what that too. It says the Roanoke colony refers to two attempts by Sir Walter Raleigh. Remember that guy? To find out
what? I have a picture of him.
Let's see. What does he look?
Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yeah, I should have guessed.
And there's our copyright strike.
Yeah, of course. So the Roanoke, was that what it is? Roanoke?
Yeah, Roanoke.
Okay, so that place, the colony, that refers to two attempts by Sir Walter Raleigh to found the first permanent English settlement in North America. The English, led by Humphrey Gilbert, had claimed St. John's, Newfoundland, in 1583 as the first North American English colony by the royal prerogative of Queen Elizabeth I, or the first, for those of you who don't know Roman numerals. Roanoke.
The one Roman numeral that looks like it's Arabic letter or it's Arabic numeral. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the M? The M?
No, the I.
Oh yeah, the I. Yeah, no, I knew you were. I got you. So Roanoke was second, right? The first Roanoke colony was established by Governor Ralph Lane in 1585 on Roanoke Island, which is now Dare County, North Carolina, United States. Following the failure of the 1585 settlement, a second colony led by John White landed on the same island and became known as the Lost Colony due to the unexplained disappearance of the population. See, I knew it was these. Okay,
it was a city. It was a colony.
It was a colony.
A town, if anything.
Yeah. It was a burg, if you will. Lane's colony was troubled by lack of supplies and poor relations with the local Native Americans. While awaiting a delayed resupply by Richard Greenville, Lane decided to abandon the colony and return to England with, what a dick. He just bailed.
Well, if you show up at a scene and you're expecting a bunch of people to be there and there's no one there, you don't wait. You don't look for them. You don't send a search party. You just go back to England. That's the rule. That was the first rule of colonizing the Americas.
It seems like what happened here. So Greenville waited 2 weeks later and left a small detachment to protect Raleigh's claim. Raleigh sent White on an expedition to establish the city of Raleigh in Chesapeake Bay. He named it after himself. What a dick. However, during a stop to check on Greenville's men, the flagship pilot Simon Fernandez instead insisted that White's colonists remain on Roanoke. White returned to England with Fernandez intended to bring more supplies back to his colony in 1588. Instead, the Anglo-Spanish War delayed his return to Roanoke until 1590. Upon his arrival, he found the settlement fortified but abandoned. The word Croatoan
Mm-hmm.
was found and carved into the palisade, which White interpreted to mean the colonists had relocated to Croatoan Island.
That's a
Before
reasonable
yeah,
assumption, really.
yeah, that's not Sherlock Holmes. You could figure that out.
He was like, you know what, guys? I, just an instinct. It's a hunch. I bet you they went over to that Croatoan Island,
Yeah,
just over about 48 miles to the southwest of here. Like, how
yeah,
do you know? He's like, I just call it a gut instinct. And
yeah.
he's got his hand over the thing on the post, like just covering
Somebody
it,
wrote.
just leaning. Yeah, he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So before he could follow his lead, rough seas and a lost anchor forced the rescue mission to return to England. The fate of the approximately 112, 121 colonists remain unknown. Speculations that they may have been assimilated with nearby Native American communities appear as early as 1605. Investigations by the Jamestown colonists investigations like this it's a fucking the goddamn pilgrims with damn buckles on their head. What are they gonna fucking
That's a very grandiose term for what they did. You know, they were like,
yeah,
well, let's investigate this. How do we do that? Like they like
yeah,
we'll stand out in the
yeah,
woods and call their names for a couple days, and then we'll head back to England, I guess.
yeah. So it says there's also speculation that produced reports that the Roanoke settlers were massacred, as well as stories of people with European features in Native American villages, but no hard evidence was produced. Interest into the matter fell into decline until 1834 when George Bancroft published his account of the events in A History of the United States. Bancroft his description of the colonists, particularly White's infant granddaughter Virginia Dare, cast them as foundational figures in American culture and captured the public imagination. Despite this renewed interest, modern research still has not produced the archaeological evidence necessary to solve the mystery. So there's our Scooby-Doo mystery for you.
Yeah.
These
So now
these assholes just disappeared. 150, 120 people just disappeared.
I like what ubiquitous DAK. I'll never pronounce his name right, I don't think. But he said we need to leave a note. Write it in a place so they know where we didn't go. Like let's narrow it down for them. And like what it is they wrote like the places that they didn't go, and then the next tree they wrote another place that they didn't go, and then
Yeah.
like these colonists or whatever, instead of like going down one tree, they made it like a scavenger hunt throughout the woods, and they're like Croatoan, arrow pointing to the next tree, and then they got to walk 40 clicks or whatever to find the next tree. 40
Well, is that
clicks,
is that what they had back then?
38
Clicks?
degrees. I don't know what they had.
Called
They had
up,
yonders, I believe.
yeah, yonders.
That was the only
Over
unit of
yonder.
measurement.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah,
yonders
15,
up over that
15
way.
yonders up. Yeah. There you go.
There was actually knew a guy who called them looks. He would call them a look. He'd say it's about 2 looks that way. I'm like 2 looks, and he said, yeah, 2 looks. Like you look until you can't see anymore, and then you get there, and then you look again in that same direction.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, I can
So,
get behind that one.
well,
So what happened here, dude? What happened here?
well, there
What-
are
what-
multiple. There are multiple claims. Actually, I have a few pictures to share. I did take some pictures. Just
It's not gonna be Bradley Cooper.
No, it's not going to be my friend who looks exactly like Kenny Loggins. These are
Yeah.
actual real pictures. Like this is going to be like a real show. Like people are going to
Oh,
actually
really?
maybe learn something here.
Like legit, huh?
I doubt it. So if you look right, if you look right in the middle of the picture there, I don't have any way of like pointing it out to you because I'm
Is
not
that Middle Earth?
technologically
You showing
advanced.
us Middle Earth right now?
This is actually a picture of the digestive system. All right, if you start at the top, that's the mouth. You see, and then you see that on the far right, it kind of looks like it's writing in there in that circle or that oval. That's actually the anus. All right.
Ah,
So yeah, you can
that
travel
makes
the
sense.
path.
I was
down to
thinking
the
that's
anus.
Middle Earth, man. Looks like a map that came out of the Hobbit.
It might be too. It might be. This actually might be based off of J.R.R. Tolkien's um, saga, his epic, The Lord of the Rings. Perhaps The Hobbit or An Unexpected Journey,
Yeah.
which preceded it. But this is yeah. If you look right in the middle, you can, and then you kind of go south, directly south. You'll see there's that little river. If you follow the river down, and then right in the middle of the river there, before you hit the ocean, there's a bit of an island there, and that's actually Roanoke. All right, that's the
Oh,
Roanoke
okay.
Island.
Yeah, I can see it kind of.
All right, and then if you
Yeah.
go
Enhance. Can you enhance?
I can't enhance.
Enhance.
Oh, you know what? I actually might be able to.
Enhance.
You know what? I can. And don't I feel silly?
No way, you can enhance?
Oh, well, yes.
I thought that
can.
was only possible in the movies, to be honest. I thought I was just joking.
I'm gonna enhance
Enhance.
it a little bit here.
Oh shit, look
see,
at that.
I'm
You
gonna
really
do-
can.
I'm
Enhance.
gonna make it a little bit easier for people to see here. Enhance.
Yeah.
Enhance.
You're supposed
All
to be
right.
saying that as you're doing
I'm sorry. Enhance, and that's as
Yeah,
far as I
enhance.
can enhance. I
Oh,
can't
okay, there you
enhance anything.
go.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so I see it now.
right
There's
there
a
in the
little-
middle, you see Roanoke Island, and then if you go to 8 o'clock, you can see there that strip is actually Croatoa. All right, that's the Croatoan
okay.
Island.
Okay.
And it's about 48 miles from there to there. So that kind of gives you a good little geographic understanding of the area and what was around them. I mean, I don't know what there.
What is this thing here
The
at
sea monster?
What?
Have you
Was
ever
there-
noticed that on maps way back when, in in the 13, 14, 1500s or whatever, these maps of the open ocean, they always have sea monsters.
Why do they do that? Why do you think?
Because there were sea monsters back then. I mean, there still are, but I
This
mean,
looks like Leviathan or something.
it
Dude.
probably was, if I
called-
had to guess. Like,
Called out Cthulhu. Dude.
yeah,
It's
those
like
people
in the
speaking with,
water.
very throaty noises.
Yeah.
Yeah, HP. We'll take it back to HP Lovecraft here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of times because I have a little globe here on my desk that my dad had left behind when he passed, and it was like one of the few things that I kept of his decorative things, and that's what it is. It shows like a globe, and it's an old timey globe of what they thought the world looked like back then, and there are sea monsters and shit on it. And what I assume happened was as they were sailing and they were charting the cartography is what it was called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, you got it. A
Thank
good
you,
one.
Thank you. It's
Proud
very
of you,
rare
Dad.
that I have that sort of knowledge on the top of my head. But I'm sure when they were doing their charting, all of a sudden they'd see something and say, "Oh, there's a sea monster here. I'm going to mark this, and then later on I'll make sure that I doodle a little Leviathan, that I doodle a sea serpent of some sort, so that if anybody comes this way, they'll know that these are dangerous areas. These are dangerous waters because there's a fucking sea monster here."
That makes sense.
So
It's legit right there.
but yeah, so that'll give you some geographic understanding. And also I do want to show you this is what the colony actually looked like. Okay, so if you wondered what these colonies back then looked like, because you got to remember this is the 1500s, right? This is 100 years, if even that, after Columbus found America, right? The Americas. And they didn't have a whole lot of anything. But the one thing that I want to pick apart on this is they had no real understanding of what a fence was supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? So
talking about people these guys didn't have internet or nothing, man.
no, clearly. And here's another one. Here's another image of that colony, which again, there's no real kind of order to their buildings.
Yeah,
either.
I was gonna say it looks kind of like. Why would you build it like that? Like, don't they understand like what doors do, or like a gate? Didn't they have gates at least in Europe? Like,
no,
they had to know.
apparently
They had to
not.
know what that was, right? Like, come on.
Nobody ever bothered to bring like blacksmiths or carpenters or anything over to the New World. It was just like random dudes. They're like, who wants to go? Well, what do you do? I am an English teacher. And then the other one's like, I'm a magician. Oh, what about you? I collect butterflies, and then not one of. And then they're like, what about any woodworkers? No, no, they're all at work right now.
Yeah,
Ah,
we don't need those
well,
guys.
fuck it, get the
Do you think
butterfly
do you
guy,
think they
and
just assume they'd get over there and there'd be like people that have already like done that? Like they'd have like they'd get there and they'd be like, "Oh, there'll be somebody there that can do it."
yeah, like they're just gonna like there's a, it's just gonna be just like in England or whatever. Let's talk about that then. Like, what do you think was going through their? Because I don't like going anywhere unless I know that what I need is gonna be there, you know,
Hmm.
and like if I feel like perhaps the people that in the place that I'm going are ill prepared, um, I won't go. And so like what about these dudes who left the new world and they're thinking like when we get there there's not going to be a whole lot of anything. We're going to have to make do with what we've got. Well, perhaps the Spaniards have shown up and they've already created a thing. We could just conquer the Spaniards and take over their village. And then
Yeah.
I guess by this point they probably heard about the natives who were there and they probably thought, hey, we'll just take over, we'll fall in with the natives or whatever. You think the rumor mill was kind of a funny thing back then? Like people would,
Yeah,
it
that's
would come back and they'd say, "Oh no, totally," like that episode of Aqua Teens where he's like, the Brood Witch one where he's like, "Oh Jerry, yeah, he's a great guy. I went in and
yeah.
talked to Jerry or whatever," and then they're like, "Oh no, this dude, running with wolves or whatever, great guy, you'll love him," and then they get there and Chief Running with Wolves is like a total dick and
Yeah.
murders them. Do you think the rumor mill was like that back then?
Yeah, well, that sounds about right because if you think about it, it's not like they had internet or phones to call each other and be like, dude, fucking blah, 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 blah. So rumors probably were like that. Like they probably got all misconstrued and confusing. So somebody was probably going, yeah, let's go over there and check out the new continent over there. Let's go check it out. What did they even call it? America yet? They just called it the New World, right? It's
Yeah.
called it the new fucking world. Like they're moving to another planet. Like, what is with these people, dude? Like, how fucking retarded were these people back then? Like, they go over there, they're thinking. I imagine there was somebody on one of those boats that was like, "We'll get over there and they'll have everything." And they were like, "Are you sure?" Like his buddy, he's like, "Are you sure? Like, are they gonna have a Starbucks?" And he's like, "Dude, we'll get there and they'll fucking have a Starbucks. Trust me."
Believe
It's
me, it's
just,
way cheaper than it is here in
yeah,
bloody London, right?
yeah,
No, you know what? And that was probably the same guy was like, when we get there, we're gonna get so much ass. Like the college kid who's like on his 8th year
yeah.
of college and he still doesn't have a degree and he's nowhere near one. And he's just like, dude, we're gonna party so hard, we're gonna drink so much fucking firewater, dude, and we're gonna get mad ass all day long. And then there's gonna be like all sorts of shit, all sorts of cool shit there ready waiting for you, bud. Like there was that guy, and he probably didn't even realize that he was wrong. You know what I'm saying? He was probably
Yeah.
like a dude who heard like a rumor from somebody else and just like let it spiral out of control in his head. And now he's like the guy who's just gonna go over to the new world, party, and get all sorts of trim.
And that
You know what I
can't
mean?
be that far from the truth because, like we're saying, they didn't have internet or like television news. So literally, they're getting their information either by ear or from like a newspaper, which probably wasn't right either. like,
Yeah.
like their newspapers were probably just dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't like trying to. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, okay, like this Roanoke colony shit. Like, you go back to like they disappeared, right? These people fucking disappear, and then some dude shows up and is like, "Oh, we'll go look for them," and then he just fucking throws in the towel, like, "Well, they're not here." So it's fucking
Here he is. Here, I actually do have a picture of that guy. This is a painting of the guy who discovered the letter. The letter. That's like again another very grandiose term for what they found. Like
yeah,
that. I mean, yeah, it's a word,
yeah. That's
which
literally him going. They must have gone to Croatoan.
and everyone
That's
else
literally.
is like this. You know what it is? It's this guy on the far right. He's like, no, there's no way, and like he's the one who screwed them.
He's
I
like the
actually,
skeptic.
yeah, I actually do have another angle of this picture here. Yep, here it is. This is not as good a picture. It was there they are. They're still arguing
What
over it.
what do you think? Like Croatoan? Like is there like another meaning of that?
It sounds like an onomatopoeia to me.
Croatoan. Yeah, it
Like a
says
frog or something. Like a frog is talking.
it's also a tribe, a Croatoan.
Yeah. You know what? It
Supernatural.
sounds like that creatine, the bodybuilding supplement.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They
beefcake
could have
stuff.
thought it was that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a terrible
Croatoan.
theory.
So they knew this place was called Croatoan back then, and he just like he probably was like they're assholes. He was probably just like, oh yeah, they went over there, fuck it, or he was like, yeah, they'll be fine.
No,
Just like blew it. I was like, assy McGee, you want to just blow this up?
you ready to blow this? You want to blow this off, Sanchez? You want to blow this thing off? Assy, no, you called me. You know what? This picture though, it's got me thinking. Like you see this. Let me actually double back here. So you see this guy with the gun over his shoulder, right, on the far right, and he's the one who kind of like led them astray, right? And then you come back over here, and here's another angle, or perhaps another day. I'd venture to say it's another day, just based off of the lighting in the sky. He's still here with that bullshit. Like, no, guys, this is not what it means. It means something else. It can't be the island that's near us. And then furthermore, like the guy is still there. Like, I really feel like there's something to this. Like,
Here's this one thing that's like confuses the shit out of me about these colonists is their garb. You know, like the hat with the buckle. Like I don't understand the purpose. I don't understand the purpose that this guy's got a buckle on his hat. I can see it.
Hold on,
Look at
let's
it.
double back. Oh, well, this is like these guys are fancy. Well, the one with the purple,
They're
was
wearing
a fancy color.
The pantaloons. The
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get the style, man. The functionality of it.
I like that dude who's got his head cocked and he's like, I can't read. Like this is 14 or 1500 or whatever. Most of
He's
us
like,
can't
yep,
read.
those are letters. Yep.
That checks out. And that just naturally grew like that? No, what I've been trying to tell you. I'm trying to say this all along. But yeah, and here he is still trying to put this and the boat has already sailed away. And
He just stayed there to like stare at it,
still brooding,
hoping he could discern some more information from the word Croatoan.
He's sitting there saying, "What's new, or what's here that shouldn't be? What shouldn't be here that's here, and what is not here that should be here?" Like Columbo. But he's
There's literally no other, and I've looked it up. There's literally no other meaning for Croatoan. So like that's the only thing that you could get from that is just to assume that is where they went. And so what like my logic is like, well, why didn't you just go over there? And then the guy just like he didn't. He said fuck it. He's like how like
that's the real carving right there, by the way.
Oh, that's a
well, here's the thing with the Croatoan people. Is at one point, and this is going to come right off the top of my head, so it could be wrong. It's based off of what I read earlier and what I heard earlier in a couple. Like I said, I just watch documentaries preparing for these things, but I don't really have any like below the surface understanding of this shit. There was an Indian who came. Oh, excuse me, a native redskin who went with them. There were two of them that went with these guys when they voyaged back to England at one point. And one of them was from Croatoa, and the other one was from another neighboring tribe. And they went back to England with these dudes, and then when they came back, they were like, one of them, the dude from Croatoa, he loved the colonists, all right, and but the other dude hated them. He hated the colonists. And so he went back and told his buddies, and then his buddies ended up coming over and smoking a bunch of them. And the other one went back to Croatoa and actually was like singing their praises or whatever. And he said, "Oh, these are good dudes. Like, they're all right. Let's keep them around. Let's not attack them. Let's not burn down their villages like we were going to do." But yeah, he went back.
Like their original intention was just to burn them.
It was funny because I was actually one of the things that I read was they actually like immediately found, you hear about these colonists, they went and they fucking murdered all the tribes, the Native American tribes or whatever, and they showed up and they took their land and shit. And but that's not what happened. Actually, in the beginning, they were very good friends with the Native Americans, or they were friendly with the Native Americans. They showed up and they actually had really great relations with them, even to the point where they were like, "Hey, would you mind if we built our little colony here on this Roanoke Island or this island or whatever. And they were like, no, that's fine, I don't care. And then they were like, all right, cool. And then they would like have each other over for dinner. And what was weird was finally the Native American, what actually caused the bad feelings between the two, the colonists and the natives, was every time the colonists showed up and visited with the natives, a few days later one of the natives would die. Like, just they had no idea what was going on. They thought that these colonists had invisible bullets, was the consensus, because the Native Americans, they were stupid back then. Yeah. And they thought that like everything had a spirit, and like rocks and shit had spirits and stuff. So I mean, it's natural to believe that they were like, oh, these colonists or these dudes or whatever, these new kids, they have invisible bullets. And that was their actual belief. So they would come and they would slaughter the Americans. But what was happening was they were getting them sick. So like in a way it was sort of like invisible bullets. But these were like diseases that they brought over from England that they were carriers of, but their bodies were able to fight them off because they were so used to having it, and they had built up the antibodies and shit. But they had these diseases in them that they were carrying, and they shared it with these natives who had never come in contact with those diseases, so they would just die off. And that's actually one of the big things that caused issues between the natives and the colonists. And but yeah, the Americans, they had, or I'm sorry, the colonists, they had asked permission to build these colonies, and the natives were like, yeah, that's fine, that's cool, we don't really care. And they would share dinner and shit. And but the Croatoans did love the colonists after this voyage that they took, and they came back and they were like, no, these dudes have all sorts of cool shit, and they're gonna help, they can help us a lot. And so that was why one of the theories was, and if you're thinking like, oh, this seems like an open and shut case. Mm-hmm. By the way, Mike says, I knew it, blame COVID. That's what it was. That was like the 1500s COVID.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the COVID cases, that's what started it. That's why our number is at like 150,000 now, because we've been counting since 1500 and 1585, I'm sorry. But that's why like you think, oh, this is an open and shut case, right? Like they wrote Croatoan on the tree. The Croatoans loved the colonists, and they were very welcoming, and then you'd think, oh, okay, well, they just moved friggin' 40 miles down the river and ended up at the Croatoan Island, and they assimilated into the native tribe. And that was one of the theories. That is in fact one of the theories, integration right with local tribes. Are you already at that part of Wikipedia, V?
Yeah, what I did read that part already.
No, I'm talking about further down. Like there's a hypothesis about the disappearance.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Hypothesis, there's like somebody actually said, a historian of the University of Texas says it's the Area 51 of colonial history. Because a lot of people do think that, and that's what's funny. Somebody said this earlier this week after you and I had already discussed that this was going to be. This is one of the first times, maybe even the first time, that we knew the topic before it came up, or before like the episode started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or the day of.
Yeah, I had ample time to like research this, and I just didn't at all.
But yeah, I forget where I was going with that. Clam baked. I don't know who that is, but they said acid droposi says, or acid droposi is a government psyop. So I don't know. Some weird stuff going on in the chat, boys. But no, yeah, that's I guess that was pretty much the end of my thing, was saying that like it seemed like an open and shut case, and we actually had the time to. Oh, that's where I was going. Was somebody commented on something about it on Twitter, and I happened to catch it.
Right.
And they said, "Well, we already know what happened with the colony of Roanoke," and I said, "Well, you better tell historians, because they don't know, and you're the only guy in the world who's confident that they know what happened." And then you come here to Wikipedia, the only site, the only reputable site that can't just be edited by any asshole, right? And they've got like 7 or 8 different theories that are all pretty good. And so I don't know how much you want to read of this, but one of them is integration with local tribes. I kind of did talk about that, where That's like the easy one, right? That's the open and
Right.
shut one where it's like, oh, they wrote Croatoan because they went down the road and or down the river, and they just assimilated with the Croatoan people or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of them. And then attempt to return to England. I mean, you can read them if you want to, V, but I'm not gonna. These are the boring ones. I'll read the boring ones. Attempt to the return to England. That was another one where they thought when the dudes left to go back to England, and they were going to come back later, they thought that the people who left or the missing colonists just tried to leave to go back to England, and they were not good at sailing, or they ran into that Leviathan. That they didn't they looked at the wrong map, or the map before the dude had a chance to draw it. They thought that that's what had happened, and they ended up sinking the ship or getting lost, or who knows, because at that point, if they get lost and they end up in Africa, then they're in all sorts of trouble, because there's no way that anyone's ever going to find them. Or if they travel back to South America, or they could have ended up anywhere, and nobody would have been able to find them. The Powhatan attack at Chesapeake Bay. Do you want to read that one? That one's a pretty short one, and then I'll do the next one.
Yeah, okay. The Powhatan attack at Chesapeake Bay.
Yes, sir.
David Beers Quinn. This guy's middle name was Beers. That's fucking awesome.
He's a winner.
Well, he concluded
you know what?
that.
I have a picture of him too.
Oh yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. I don't know that guy. But you know who I would have picked if I would have had that typed up.
Yeah, of course. So he concluded that in 1587, colonists sought to relocate to their original destination of Chesapeake Bay using the panache. Is that the word panache? I don't know.
I don't know.
The panache. I think it's panache, but I don't know. Whatever it is, it's a fucking mode of transportation in the water.
It's a type of boat.
Yeah. And other small boats to transport themselves and their belongings. A small group would have been stationed at Croatoan to await White's return and direct them to the transplanted colony. Following White's failure to locate any of the colonists, the main body of the colonists would have quickly assimilated with the Chesapeans.
Nice.
The Chesapeans, that's what they're while they look up on Croatoan, would have blended into the Croatoan tribe. So Quinn suggested that Samuel Mace's 1602 voyage might have ventured into Chesapeake Bay and kidnapped the Powhatans, right? That's these engines, man, and they're fucking to bring back to England. From there, these abductees would be able to communicate with Thomas Harriot, yeah, that's his name, and might reveal the Europeans were living in this region. Quinn evidently believed circumstances such as these were necessary to explain optimism about the colonists' survival after 1603. Although Starkey, some other person, accused Wakasa's... are these names of Indian tribes again? Because they're fucking weird.
Yeah, it was because I was actually uploading the new JRAB design for that I owe you guys, that I was supposed to show you guys and put in the store today. I was actually uploading it, and naturally the friggin' feed went down. So what's worse is it said if you can, or don't worry, your feed is still going in the background. If you were streaming, whatever, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. And it said, when you're ready, go ahead and boot the thing back up. I was like, all right. So I tried. That did not work, because here we are. All right. Yeah, huh? All right, there we go. All right, so anyways, if you're here in the chat, welcome back. The JRAB shut us down. Yep.
Doesn't JRAB happen to be in a JRAB?
He does.
Not intentionally. When I said the name at the beginning, it was just the first name that popped into my head, and I just assumed. Remember? Do you remember where J-Rap? Like we're talking about, because it was basically,
The
you
exorcism
know,
episode.
yeah, it was one of the first episodes. We were talking about demons, right? And it was, you call out the demon's name, and that's how can get him to like whatever. And to me, it didn't make sense, like. You go, well, what the fuck? His name is J-Rab, and then he goes, that's not me, that's not my name. It was like, if I
Is
was the
that a common
demon,
name
yeah,
for?
yeah. I had to think of a name off the top of my head for the bit, and like J-Rab for some reason was the one that came in. But then he ended up being, he ended up being a fucking Arab.
Yeah, so that's how, and it was strictly because his name sounds like that. So actually, we'll go ahead and we'll share with you the new J-Rab design. This is what's going to be coming to the Red Bubble here today. As soon as we wrap up this episode, I'll go ahead and put it on there, and you can go ahead and order yourself some J-Rab merch. But yeah, this is what you've been waiting for all this time, and I've been slacking off on. So now you know. Now you have some J-Rab merch that you can buy. Don't worry, that gray background won't be there. When you buy the shirt, it'll actually it'll be transparent, so there won't be any of that gray in the background. I just put that there to offset it so you can read the text. Anyways, so moving back to what we were talking about. V, do you want to read that whole thing over? Go ahead, V. Read the whole thing
Fuck you.
from birth. So
Yeah,
no,
so
I'll
I'll
go ahead and
tell you my life story from the womb.
there you go. That's what it was.
From the womb. Yeah, no. I mean, they got the gist of it. These guys were assholes. They Chesapeans, and they were supposedly an attack and some revenge thing from these Wahan Senqua. Man, these Indians and their names, dude, they're fucked up. I can't pronounce them, so you're just gonna have to figure it out.
Take his word for it. It was
Yeah, take my word.
it was one of them damn Indians.
Hmm.
Indians. The other thing was a Spanish attack. Go ahead and while I'm talking, V, go ahead and read up on conspiracy against Raleigh, because you're going to be doing that one next. The Spanish
Okay.
attack. What happened there was they had to actually find a place, and that was one of the main reasons, I guess, why they picked the island. They didn't want to be right on the shore, right up against the ocean, so they picked a little ways back into that island because the Spaniards had actually already laid claim to that area of the New World. So they wanted to be far enough away from the shore that like Spanish patrols couldn't like coast by and all of a sudden see the people hanging out there having a good time and colonizing their area. So they actually they thought that one of the possibilities for this disappearance of the colonists was that it was a Spanish attack. The Spaniards had done exactly what they were afraid of happening, coasted by or come up on shore and discovered all of a sudden that there were people living there, and they went in and killed them off. So that was one of the theories of what they thought could have happened. The funny thing about all these theories is like none of them were ever able to be proven or disproven for that matter. So they're all still kind of like hanging in the balance of, is this is what actually did happen to these guys. But you will have people who come along, like that dude I was telling you about earlier, who say, oh, we already know what happened to them. They went to Croatoan, the Croatoan island, and just assimilated with the Indians. But because there has not ever been any kind of proof for or against any of these theories, it's still a possibility. V, did you want to, are you read up enough on the conspiracy about Raleigh to speak on it?
Well, kind of. I mean, I guess yeah. Apparently, there's a dude that's name is Miller involved in this. I feel like I should just read this because I can't really give you the gist without kind of going through it. So I'm just, it's short anyways. So, anyways, anthropologist Lee Miller proposed that Sir Francis Walsingham, Simon Ferdinand, Edward Strafford, and the other part participated in a conspiracy to maroon the 1587 colonists at Roanoke. The purpose, okay, so this is where it gets interesting. The purpose of this plot she argued, was to undermine Walter Raleigh, whose activities supposedly interfered with Washington's covert machinations to make England a Protestant world power at the expense of Spain and other Catholic nations. This conspiracy would have been prevented by Raleigh and White from dispatching a relief mission until Walsingham's death in 1590. Miller also suggested that the colonists may have been separatists seeking refuge in America from religious persecution in England. Raleigh expressed sympathy for separatists, while Walsingham considered them a threat to be eliminated. So, according to Miller, the colonists split up with a small group relocating in Croatoan, while the main body sought shelter in Chawanoki, whatever, another place. However, the colonists would quickly spread European disease among their hosts, decimating the Chawanoki and thereby destabilizing the balance of power of the region. From there, Miller reasoned that the Chawanoki were attacked, with the survivors taken captive by the Mandoeg, a powerful nation to the west that the Jamestown colonists only knew from the vague accounts of their neighbors. She concluded that the Manonoke were the Eno, who traded the remaining lost colonists as slaves until they were dispersed throughout the region. Miller's theory has been challenged based on the Walsingham's considerable financial support of Raleigh's expedition and the willingness of Ferdinand to bring John White back to England instead of abandoning him with the other colonists. So it's theories that, I mean, it kind of has validity, but it kind of doesn't. Is basically they're saying that these people had like planned this so that they could get away. There's like a conspiracy against Sir Walter Raleigh, but at the same time, like there was a lot of money involved to help his, his trip there. So it seems like, I don't know. I don't think I can get behind this one. I think this one doesn't.
When something says it has conspiracy in the title of the theory, you can go ahead and write it off, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So you can't get behind that one?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I don't know.
All right. Is it because it was a conspiracy against this guy?
Yeah. Well, no, because there's like when there's money involved and like there's a reason for that, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess the separatist thing, like, yeah, maybe they just wanted to be safe or whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that like nobody went looking for them. What bothers me the most about this whole account for all of this is like nobody said like, oh, they kind of just said fuck it, dude. Like all the time, these people were missing, and they were like, "Yeah, we found this. They just must have moved to Croatoan." But then nobody was like, "Well, we should go find them." And then when they did, they were like, "You know what? Yeah, we'll do it next week." And then like next thing you know, it just didn't happen, and now they're missing. Now they're just
Forever.
like, well, because nobody went to go look for. Like that's my logic. Is these people were missing because nobody went to go look for them. That's why they're just like, oh yeah, you disappeared. Well, now they're missing. Yeah, well you didn't go look for them, so yeah, they're missing.
Can you imagine? Excuse me. I had to spit out my vape because I don't want people to know that I vape. So then tell my mom on me.
Yeah.
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 Or add me to like gay vaping weekly or whatever.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a gay joke. You beat me to it.
Yeah, well, I had to take the wind out of your sails. There are some times where like, have you ever been like you leave the house and you forget something and you go, I'm already like on Harold and Kumar when they like walk down the hall and he's like, I forgot my cell phone. Well, you want to go back and get it? And they're like still in the hallway and he's like, nah, we've come too far. Like, have you ever had that where you're like so lazy, right? And you just it's something that you totally could do and it wouldn't even like be a burden, but you're just like, no, I'm not gonna do it because I'm being lazy. Like I feel like that's what happened here. You know what I mean? Like they're like, well, they say they're in the Croatoan Island, but that's like 48 miles, dude. And like back then, 48 miles was something. I mean, it wasn't like it was less. It was probably like a day's trip, really. But still, it's like inconvenient for them. So instead, they just travel back to England, like across the ocean, and they're like, we'll just go back and we'll take our licks for losing a colony. And then they do, and then they show up, and the king's probably like, well, did you check? Like, did you look and see if they went? Like, what happened? And they're like, well, they wrote Croatoa on the tree, and then like the king doesn't know any better, right? He's over across the ocean. He doesn't know what that is, and nobody's told him that that's a tribe of Indians that lives right there. So like they wrote Croatoa on the tree, so I don't know. And then he's like, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, I don't know. Like no one knows, sir. No one knows, Your Majesty. So they're like, all right, well, fuck it. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
They're like actually, are we already at that point where it's like, well, what happened, Captain? Or the captain's like, what happened? And the rookie's like, well, like he just wants to go home. And he's like, well, I don't know. They wrote Croatoa on the tree. I don't know what it means though. All right. So the next one is it's actually, the secret operation at Beachland. This is a fun one and you were talking about it having to do with money, and that's always like a hard one. That's exactly what happened here, and it's actually full of funny words because so there's this place called Alligator River, which makes me wonder like how like some of these things, like you look at the names of places and you're like, maybe there's an interesting story behind it. I don't know. And then, but in reality, like you find out the true history of that particular name, and it's like, oh, it's because somebody saw an alligator in that river, so they just said, don't go in that river, it's full of alligators. Oh, Alligator River then. Yep. And that's how it got its name. It's not anything interesting. But yeah, there's a place called Alligator River, and on this near this Alligator River, there was a bunch of sassafras. All right, and that's one of the funny words I'm talking about.
Is that a real thing, sassafras?
It's a real thing. Yep, it's a real thing, and it was actually a commodity apparently because they discovered this sassafras. And
what the fuck is sassafras? I thought that was just a thing that what's his name, Sylvester the cat.
No, you're thinking of succotash, which is actually like lima beans and corn mixed together. That's succotash. And that's what he's talking about when he says suffer and succotash.
Well, what the fuck is sassafras?
I guess it's a type of like plant or whatever, but whether it was used for cooking or
that's
what,
ridiculous.
I don't know. But it's a type of plant, right?
Okay, all right.
Vegan Vapors Monthly is what Let's Fish already said I would be on the cover of, and Jay Coop said Veggie Vipers Monthly or Veggie Vapors. Veggie Vipers actually sounds pretty cool. Or Veggie Vipers sounds cool. Veggie Vapors, there we go. Veggie Vapors Monthly is like a plague on somebody's like it's a horrible thing. I wouldn't want anything to do with that. Veggie Vipers, maybe I would proudly be on the cover of Veggie Vipers.
It sounds like you plow a vagina.
Right. And it's like I've got a powerful potent venom, right? And that much is true, because anytime I've tried to have a kid, boom, like first time go, and they're boys too. So if you need a boy, let me know. I'll hook you up. Mike.
Burn.
Well, I gotta sneak a gay joke in there every once in a while. But yeah, so the theory was that this Walter Raleigh guy, he discovered or found this sassafras, and it's near the colony, and what they did was they started collecting it up, and it became this whole secret operation where they were like, they didn't want anyone to know where it was, and he's saying molasses turned into a type of sosa, I think, V is what he said. So
okay.
Yeah, so they would collect it up, and they were turning it into, they turned it into the secret operation, and they had to like leave the colony so that nobody would come and find their secret stash of sassafras. say that 5 times fast. Secret stash. Their secret stash of sassafras. I gotta write that down because that's going in the description somewhere.
It's pretty good.
But they did that, and then I guess he died before like having this secret location of where all the sassafras was, and he died and wasn't able to really, I guess, capitalize on it and recoup the cost of the failed expedition. And they say that that's not a realistic theory because the cost of sassafras didn't actually shoot up.
Why does it make me laugh every time?
I told you it was a funny word. I warned you.
It's like a cartoon word is what it is.
Yeah. and it's on the Alligator River. So it all sounds like it all sounds. If somebody told me that theory, like if I was legitimately like an anthropologist or some kind of historian or something, and I'm like, we got to find out what happened to this colony. I will not rest until we find out what happened. And somebody said, well, I have a theory involving sassafras and the Alligator River, I would immediately discount that and say, no, shut your mouth.
Yeah, it's
like
stupid.
we're doing some serious stuff here. All right.
Yeah, come on, get out of here.
Alligator River and sassafras, get out of here. You get lost right now. What about the Cora tree? Are you tracking that?
Yeah, the with Scott Dawson and
Yeah.
the Cora tree. It says on Hatteras Island, which bears the faint inscription Cora on its bark, might be connected to the lost colony. The Cora tree had already been the subject of the local legends, but most notably a story about a witch named Cora that was popularized in 1989 by Charles Wedby. Nevertheless, Dawson argued that the inscription might represent another message from the colonists, similar to the Croatoan inscription on Roanoke. If so, Cora might indicate the colonists left Croatoan islands to settle in Coree, also known as Coronine, on the mainland near Muda Muskeet. These people and their dumb names, man. Why couldn't they just call it this place, and that place? In 2009, a study determined the age of the core tree was inconclusive. Damage to the tree caused by lightning and decay has made it impossible to obtain a valid core sample for the tree ring dating. Even if the tree dates back to the 16th century, though, establishing the age of the inscription would be another matter. Yeah, how would you know? How would you know when the inscription? How could you fucking determine that? It's not like you could cut the inscription in half and see the rings. You're not gonna fucking, you know what I mean?
How many rings in the word Cora? This
Yeah.
We have gone from a place of science to a place of pseudo science or whatever.
Yeah.
This is like 2006 or whatever, and somebody comes along. What I don't get is like these people and carving stuff into trees, right? Like everything that they were writing. I bet you go there and you could find somebody dear diary like carved into a tree. And like today I had I don't know, I got bit by a snake. The doctor, who is not really a doctor, he's like a plumber or whatever. The doctor says I have 2 days to live or whatever. It's just like a whole diary on this tree or whatever. Mm-hmm. These people, that's all they do. It was like that was like their instinct. Like first and foremost was like, I got to write this down. Where's the nearest tree? Like give me a knife and a tree because I got to I got to write this down. Now we're talking about Cora. This is a witch, right? So naturally, this is going to be my go-to because I believe everything is paranormal.
Right.
So this is going to have to be mine. They left Croatoan. So this is like the sequel. As I when you were reading it earlier, this is like similar to the Croatoan inscription at Roanoke. Cora might indicate that the colonists left Croatoan Island to settle with the Coree, also known as the Coronine, on the mainland near Lake Matamuskeet.
That's it. I couldn't get that one right, Matamuskeet. That's a fucking dumb name for a lake, dude. Whoever came up with that needs their ass whooped.
So nobody carved that into the tree. But yeah, so this sounds like the sequel, right? Because and what's funny is like instead of being like, oh, they it couldn't have possibly have been the Croatoans who wrote this on their own tree. It had to have been one of the colonists. Like they're trying to piece together something when in reality, like these Croatoans, I mean, it was their island. Like who's to say that they didn't carve it into? They saw a bunch of colonists doing it back in Roanoke, and they were like, "What are you guys carving in trees?" Oh, that's where we write all our memos. And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, trees.
So
they're just some gibberish on a tree.
Just carving shit into a tree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got nothing better to do. It's 1592 or whatever. Yeah. I got nothing else to do going on. So yeah, this sounds like less of a theory and more of a sequel. And it's like it's to the point where, in the series where they've run out of natural arc, that they're like, and then a fucking witch showed up, just to like spice it up a little bit. So that's what's I think what happened here. I think it probably has less to do with the Lost Colony and more to do with like a spin-off, like a Degrassi, The Next Generation, except for in this one it's Roanoke, The Next Generation.
Yeah. So I was gonna say I've seen that movie. I'm pretty sure that's the Blair Witch 2. It's like
no, the Blair Witch 2 is Book of Shadows, which is actually a piece of cinematic It's a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, is that right?
No, not at all. It's probably the furthest thing from
I
that word
I,
ever.
I was actually lying. I've never seen. I saw the Bear Wench project of softcore porn version. I've seen that
Is
with
it any
Julie
good?
K. Yeah, yeah. Julie K. Smith, dude. She's got some great gazoombas. See,
When
you
you
didn't
said
think I
that,
was serious.
when
I
you said
really
that
had.
joke the other day, I thought you were kidding, and now I know that it's a real thing. Oh, I guess I assumed it was probably a real thing. I didn't know if you had actually watched it.
It's a real thing. Yeah, it's a real
Well,
thing. Get up.
I'm glad you know about it
Yeah,
because
softcore porn. It's rare, man. Softcore porn is rare these days. Like you don't, there's so much like full penetration hardcore porn out there that you don't have the simulated sex like you used to when you go on to like Cinemax back when you were a kid, late night Cinemax, Skinemax, and it
yeah,
was like, porn, but you didn't see penetration. You just saw people pretending to have sex. Like they weren't actually having sex, they were just pretending. And there's something about that, man. And I know I'm getting off topic here, but there's something you have
we
to
were done
appreciate.
anyways.
Yeah,
So,
you have to appreciate softcore porn. I urge you to go watch the Bear Wench Project. I think you'll enjoy it.
is there any like? There's no sex in it. It's all just like fake, just imaginary.
I mean, there's nudity, but you're not going to see
Oh,
dicks and
V.
vaginas.
You know I can't look at nudity. You know I'm like I'm trying to become better about that and not look at other people's dicks anymore.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
trying not to look at anyone's dicks.
Of course.
So, all right, final one, and then we'll take it to the bullpen. All right, Dare
Okay,
stones.
all right.
From 1937 to 1941, a series of inscribed stones were discovered that were claimed to have been written by Eleanor Dare, a mother of Virginia Dare, who is somebody that apparently we were supposed to know. They told of the travelings of the colonists. Oh, so they're not even carving into trees anymore. They're carving into rocks. They upgraded. Went from the tree age to the stone age. They told of the travelings of the colonists and their ultimate deaths. Most historians believe that they are a fraud, but there are some today who still believe at least one of the stones to be genuine. The first one is sometimes regarded as different from the rest based on the linguistic and chemical analysis, anal, and as possibly genuine. So what cracks me up about that, just off of like that quick read, is like there was somebody collected all these rocks, right? Which is like a story. Like instead of pages on a tree,
Yeah.
It's on rocks, and like somebody's like putting the rocks in a certain order, trying to tell the story of what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke. And somebody had the audacity to say, no, all these rocks over here, fake. This one is real. All right, this is the real story. Like it's just one rock. This is what really happened. Like this is the only genuine rock letter that we have out of all these rocks that you collected. This is the only one that I find to be genuine. Like what kind of crazy person is like, no, all these rocks, this rock theory that you're presenting is bullshit. However, this rock right here, I believe wholeheartedly to be genuine and a genuine tale of what happened to the Roanoke colony. And so so this is the one that I believe. All right, let's take it to the bullpen. All right. All right. The captain is sitting up in that judge chair. Or whatever. We got to answer to the captain.
Yeah.
What do you think, V?
Well, I go back. The first thing that I think about this whole situation that bothers me so much is that they literally, like, I feel like they did nothing to look for these people. Like, wasn't there somebody's family or something? Like what happened here? Like that's what I go. My instinct tells me these people were assholes. Like there's something going on that like they were just like, you know what, fuck them, fuck all of them, or maybe like, I don't know, dude. It's kind of.
Do you think they were intentionally abandoned by Walt?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you just not go look for these people? Like every chance you had, you're like, let's blow this off. Yeah, like, every fucking time, come on, dude. Like you had multiple times to go look for these people, and you were just like, you know what? It was like what do they call the path of least resistance?
Yeah,
you saw the thing. It said Croatoan. Your immediate assumption was, well, they probably moved to Croatoan, and then they said, fuck it. Like, yeah, like they're good, they're whatever. And then like the whole story to me just like doesn't like add up. Like, oh yeah, they moved to Croatoan, and then they said, fuck it, and then they were like, oh well, should we go look for them? And like, yeah, we'll go look for them, but not yet, not right now. And then when they were like, we'll go look for them, they were like,
let's come
yeah,
back in 3 years and do it.
Yeah, let's come back in 3 years and do it. And it was like nothing. Like they literally did nothing to find these people. And then they're like, well, they're missing. Well, you assholes didn't go looking for them. Like, yeah, they're gonna be missing because nobody went to go look for them.
Do
Like
you think like
that.
he goes, they're missing, and the guy who was like in charge of the expedition is like, oh my god, why would this happen? Why? How could this happen? And everyone's like, because we left for 3 years.
Yeah,
We didn't go 40 miles down the river and go
it's
look.
like there was this window of opportunity to like go kind of look for them. Like even like let's assume that there were all these other cases where it's like, well, it could have been this, and they could have been like, slaughtered by the fucking natives, right? Well, there's this window where like at some point they read that Croatoan and they were like, oh yeah, they moved to Croatoan, and there was a guy that was like, hey, but they could have been attacked by savages, like, and somebody was like, oh well, do you think we should go look for them? Like maybe we should maybe we should find in case they're injured, and like they weren't even like concerned, like, oh, I guess we'll, fuck it, man, they're fine.
Can you imagine this guy? He's like, I really feel like there's something to this.
Yeah.
This Croatoan word. Like, what on earth? It's got to be something. It's got to be a clue. It really does. And like everyone's like, come on, guy, let's get in the boat. We got to go back to England for a while, and then maybe we'll come back and check it out.
Yeah, maybe. Like what the like 120 people. Like it wasn't like a couple of people. It wasn't like 3 or 4 people that they were like, oh yeah, these guys that just kind of disappeared. They were probably eaten by animals or attacked by natives or something. Oh, okay, yeah. Then you can just kind of write it off. But 100, like a colony, dude. This isn't like a family. This isn't like one family. It's like an entire colony of people that just fucking disappeared. That like my complete assumption about everybody in the 1500s, these colonists, is that they're all fucking assholes. Like they go, oh, fuck it, man, they're gone, dude. I guess. I guess they're gone. I guess they're gone, bro. Like, you think we should go look for them? Nah, like, yeah, they went to Croatoan. That's why they wrote this. That's why they wrote this here, man. Like,
so it seems like they're really like they treat people as though they're expendable back then. So it's like, imagine if somebody from the 1500s, right, from this voyage or whatever to that was involved with the Croatoa situation or the Roanoke situation. Imagine if one of them came forward or like came forward in time and to now, and they're hearing all this Black Lives Matter. First of all, they're going to be like, what lives? Like, what do you mean black lives? Because like everyone was white there. This is pre-slavery, right? And so they're like, I'm sorry, what lives matter? But then furthermore, they're like, well, it's just important that we recognize that that black people matter. Okay, cool. And then he's like, in what way? Well, just that their lives have meaning. And he's like, I don't even think white lives matter. Like, and this guy's like the whitest person ever. He's
nobody's life, man.
No life has any kind of value as far as we're concerned. Like, this was a different type of culture, I guess, back then, where they're like, fuck it. You got to make an omelet. You got to break some eggs. Like 120 eggs to be precise. Like, who cares if it's for the greater good of the colonization of the Americas, right? And if they can if they have to sacrifice a colony to make it happen, and there was no good that came from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
no.
You could use that as an excuse and be like, well, it's for the greater good. In what way? Like, there was no.
Yeah, and they didn't like recolonize it or anything. They just kind of like left it too. Like, I guess they're gone. So does anybody want to move here? It's like you want to check on their stuff and take their stuff, or what the fuck, dude? Like, that's what I meant. Like there's got to be more to it, Like, did they go and like search the houses and be like, so the stove's still out, or whatever? What, they didn't have stoves, so what the fuck did they even have? There's still fire on the fucking whatever, so it's still warm. Like, they couldn't have left that long. Like their investigation didn't consist of shit, dude. They didn't do nothing.
These guys are worse investigators than we are.
Yeah.
We're not very good at all. So
what do you think? What do you think happened?
I think it was a little bit of everything. And let me tell you what I mean by that, all right? Pull up a chair. We got what, 18 minutes?
Yeah.
I'll take all those minutes.
All right.
Take a drag off my
Yeah.
e-pipe.
Yes.
Because that's what you do
Yeah.
when my e-cigar. That's what you do when you're in the bullpen. All right,
Hmm.
so here's what happened. Okay,
All right.
Raleigh, right? He brings
Hmm.
these guys over. He finds this island, and this island is tight. I mean, this is a really cool island. This Roanoke Island. It's really good.
Hmm.
Um, and he drops the 120 people off. Okay, and
Okay.
he goes and plays doorbell ditch on every single teepee in the neighboring tribes. Pisses them all off, all right? Just really like gets them angry, all right? And then he dips out. He's like, hey, I got to go do a restock run. Good luck, Roanoke. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that, Raleigh? What do you mean by that? As he's like sailing off, waving, like, ah. And he's like, good luck, guys. What do you mean? What do you mean? Meanwhile, these natives, okay, like half of the people from this colony, okay, I'm going to say half of them knew because they were kind of in Raleigh's inner circle and they knew what he was doing. So
Hmm.
they bailed, all right, and they went to uh, they just went to the mainland and they got away. They got away clean. Um, Meanwhile, the other half, so really only 60 people, right, are left on the island. And then one of the guys there says, hey, I bet I can name all the nearby tribes just for fun. Just for fun. He's going to name them. And he writes Croatoa on one of the trees because that was what they used to keep notes on. He's like, I'm going to
Right.
write it on this tree. We'll write all the tribes that we know. But the problem was he grossly overestimated his knowledge of the neighboring tribes. So he only knew the one, all right? And but he didn't even know where it was. So he didn't even know that they were on the Croatoan island. He didn't know the names of the islands. He wasn't a cartographer, right?
Hmm.
So he writes Croatoa because he had heard somebody say that before. And then he said, you know what? That's the only one I can think of. And then nobody else.
He just abandoned it like the way they abandoned the people.
Exactly.
They were all just a bunch of fucking lazy fuckers. They just like gave up half. They were half-ass and everything.
No,
It's
well, no. See, this guy was kind of a hard charger. He was just dumb. So he goes, let's go check out these other islands and see if we can meet these other natives. Because he realized all of a sudden, he's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't even know. He's like, I feel like a shitty neighbor. Like, I've never met these guys. So he and, a handful of other guys decide to take off. And they just sail. But none of them know how to sail. So they just go with the river. And they end up, guess where? Croatoan Island, all right?
hmm. Hmm.
While they're there, he realizes, he says, hey, let's play another game, all right? let's let's name all the witches. So he does. He's like, Cora, right? He goes, it's like, I know.
That's all he's
And he's like, I feel like a shitty neighbor. He says, let's head out and let's see if we can meet some of the other witches around here. And then they got lost or whatever at sea, right? Because that was one of
got.
the other theories. Is like, and it wasn't even just him and a handful of guys. It was the rest of the guys, actually. Matter of fact, the first 60 guys, it was all 120 guys. Between the 120 of them, none of them could come up with extra names of Indian tribes or witches. And they all got lost at sea, right? And then they were like, while they're at sea, looking for more witches, they were like, you know what? We've been out here for a long time. Let's just head back to England. And on their way, they didn't realize it, but they had some stowaways, the Powhatans. All right,
Mm-hmm.
the Powhatans attacked them as they were sailing uh, on the open ocean. The thing about it being at Chesapeake Bay was wrong. All right, it turns out it was just on the boat, and these Powhatoans or whatever, Powhatans, I'm sorry, they killed off all the colonists or whatever on the ship, but also at the same time as the Powhatan attack, the Spanish discovered them on the ocean, and one of the guys who was on the ship, he was on the deck, and he took his pants down and he mooned the Spanish sailors who were sailing by. They were heading to Roanoke, which is lucky, really, for these guys, because if they would have caught him in Roanoke, they would have been furious, and they would have slaughtered him there. Meanwhile, the dude on the ship pulls his pants down, moons the Spanish sailors, and that was that. That was the end of it. But also at the same time, the Powhatans were sneaking around, killing off all the sailors too, the colonists as well. But Raleigh, he comes back, right? He comes back looking for these guys. Doesn't find them. But you know what he does find?
Mm-hmm.
He finds some sassafras,
and of course,
and the rest is history. All right. Oh, and then no, you know what? That wasn't the history. This whole situation, the story needed to be told, right? And the only person who survived the Spanish attack, actually, he was able to get back to Roanoke, and I don't know how. This part was not told on the stones. But he makes it all the way back, discovers Raleigh's operation, the sassafras operation, and he tells the entire story. At this point, he doesn't want to use somebody else's notes, right? Like, he doesn't want his story to be confused.
Right.
So he finds a bunch of rocks,
mm-hmm.
and he writes the whole story on rocks. Tells the whole damn story, and that's the end of it.
What you're saying here is pretty much every single one of the suggestions of what happened it's all just crammed together.
It's all true.
You know, as you were explaining, it's all true. You know, as you were explaining it, I realized what actually happened.
Oh.
And I think I know what happened to the 121 people on the Roanoke colony there. Is they just experienced the rapture. It turns out the rapture happened. It already happened, and they were the only ones that got to go. Like, everybody that's waiting for the rapture, sorry, but the Croatoans or the Roanokans are the ones that they got to go, and you know.
Well, you don't remember that passage in the New Testament. I believe it's John. It was in John. Jesus was actually talking to his disciples, and he said, "Let he who is with ears hear. In order to gain entry into heaven, you must write Croatoan."
And also be a Roanoke. Also be a. Let he who is Roanoke come see my face.
But that's the sacrifice that you have to make, is you have to carve Croatoan. That's the secret word. That was lost in translation.
You know what else? You know what else could have happened is like they got there and like they were like, yeah, this is our colony or whatever, and we'll build our fence around it in a weird way with no gate. And I bet like the savages showed up and just like beat the ever loving crap out of them for not putting up a gate. They were like, dude, even we know how to put up gates.
Do you think like the Indians grabbed them by the head and they were like shoving it in the dirt and they're like, nice gate, nerds.
Yeah, you know,
good job.
You didn't know what you were doing. You guys blew it.
You guys need me to show you how to build a gate?
The savages are the ones
with your big
like we built
design.
Better. We've been here like, you know, living in our underwear with our boobs hanging out, and we know how to build gates.
We bang rocks together and pray to rocks or pray to smoke or whatever, and we know how to build a gate. You guys come here with guns and friggin' frilly neckerchiefs or whatever, and you can't even build a gate? What's the matter with you? Shoving their
really?
I don't know what those things are called. Those
your pantaloons.
Would you guys shit your pants forever?
Your hats with buckles.
How many times did you shit your pants, colonists?
Do you think the Indians at Thanksgiving made fun of the
Oh, it's not a day goes by I don't think about that.
Like, dude, why does he have a buckle on his head? Whispering at Thanksgiving dinner.
Is he trying to keep his hat up? Like, Without a belt, would it fall down?
Why does this need a belt?
Well, that's actually a true story. Let me tell you the history of the belt hat. What happened there was way back when, and this is pre belt hat days, right? People would wear those tall hats, right? Like the pilgrim hats. Yeah. And as they wore them, they'd be talking, and the brim of the hat, right, sits like this. And as they're talking, the hat would slide down like this.
Right,
to a point where, I mean, because they were tall, right? I mean, they were way up there. Yeah. And they'd come down to where it was like covering the mouth, and they'd still be trying to talk, and all of a sudden they have the hat. So they'd have to pull their hat up, right, and put it back on their head. So somebody said, you know what? We wear a belt to keep our pants up. Why don't we put a belt on our hat? And somebody was like, that is a really good idea. And then somebody put the belt around the hat instead and kind of tightened it off. And then no more hats falling down. So people started, and then at a certain point it became symbolic. Like they were like, you know, it would be easier is if we buy hats that fit our head a little bit better. and then they were like, yeah, but I like the design of the belt. So it just became a design.
You know, it would be easier if we just bought hats.
Well, back then hats were just handed down from generation to generation.
Right, yeah.
They were heirlooms more than anything. So.
Oh God!
All right, so that's we got 6 minutes to close it out. We got.
So there was no aliens involved in this. There was nothing paranormal.
No, there were witches. Well, we talked about that. There were witches involved. Yeah. Witches. Matter of fact, probably aliens as well. As I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. That could be. We're all abducted. Yeah, I mean that could have been it, right? They were just abducted.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
The aliens showed up and were like, these assholes don't know how to build a gate. Let's take them with us and teach them a little something.
That's what happened too. Is, you know, like we talk about how aliens come down and they tell us, like they give us the new technology or whatever. And we were talking about that the other day about the iPhone and cell phones in general. These, you know, they're just really cool designs and stuff, or really cool things or whatever, inventions. And but back then, aliens were where we are, like in 1800, which was like peak gate time, right? Like if you recall, the 1800s was like, that was like when gates hit, you know, they were like the best they've ever been, frankly.
Right.
1800s, I consider that the you know, gate century, because that was the century in which we
the gate renaissance, if you will.
Yeah, the gate age. That's what they call it, the gate age. That's where aliens. We're just saying a bunch of lies to end the episode. But yeah, that's what happened. Was the aliens went back and they were from like 1800s time. They had that technology, and then they went back to the 1500s, and they said, "Hey guys, come." They tried. The problem was they tried to show them how to build a gate, but these guys were so dumb. And the aliens recognized that when they showed up. And they were like, "What are you guys writing on trees for?" Like, and rocks.
What is this? Got paper, man. Yeah. You know,
you can in fact turn that tree into smaller, like, things that you can write on, right? Like I'll show you how to do it later. Hey, let's talk about gates, all right? Like, because you're missing one. Like, you don't have one, and you really need one. And then the colonists were like, "Gates? What is that?" Yeah. So that's what happened. And
also your fence here, it's the workmanship is questionable.
let me, as a matter of fact, let me pull that up for anybody who may have forgotten what the here we go. You're talking about this?
Yeah.
What is like that keeping out?
Yeah, how's that? It's like, it looks like a domino set, like somebody set up their dominoes.
Can you imagine the guy who's running, like he's being chased by a wolf or a pack of wolves, and he's running and he turns to look and see how close the wolves are, and then he turns forward, but it's too late because he like got off track a little bit, and he slams head first into one of those poles, and all of a sudden they all go down one at a time like dominoes all the way around, and then everyone inside is like, "No!" And then the wolves and Indians and aliens and every bad thing in the new world or whatever descend upon them, and just that's what happened. Now that's the answer. All right, would you agree with that? It's
like you would think that by the 1500s, borderline 1600s, the 17th century, if you would think that by then they have like the concept of like, man, like I don't know anything about like carpentry or anything, but I understand that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like I know this is how a fence works. But these people, it's like they were, cavemen or something like that. It's not that far back. You look at it, you go, where did this city come from? Or this burg or colony?
From apparently the dumbest part of Europe.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
So let's go to the chat real quick before we close that because we've got about 3 minutes. Let's hit this real quick. Mike in Manitoba said maybe they were sassafras and gators. That's the new sex movement.
Yeah.
Move. Jay Coop said follow the dangerous alligator river to the secret stash of sassafras. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Mike is talking about a thunderstorm and he peed a little bit.
Nice.
Police. Jay Coop, when I was doing the really long story that included everything, he said police captain listening to Detective Tom makes perfect sense to me so far. And then Mike says, I still think they followed a guy named Schroeder and started the Amish cult. That's true. Do the Amish have gates?
Yeah.
Furthermore, Jay Coop says the real question is what happened to the colonist socks, and that's what usually ends up being like that's why so many of these cases remain unsolved because we just don't know what happened to the socks.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Mike in Manitoba said they just figured out the world was round, couldn't draw a complete circle though. They yeah, that's what's funny about their
clearly
their
they didn't even
circle.
understand circles.
So these dudes, they were like, we'll just build it around and like do it in a circle, and then like rather than
Do you think? No, you
the
know what
guy's not
happened
even looking
is
when he's trying to
the
build
guy was building the fence and he went all the way around in a circle and then he got to the point where they were supposed to connect, but he realized he had gone too far and he was like, "Oh shit, the other side of it is back there. I veered off too far." And he was like, "Well, we could go back and correct it if we take out these poles." And they were like, "Nah, just leave it."
No, the one guy's setting him up. He's like, "James, what are you doing? Slow down. Stop planting these gigantic logs. Like you've veered off. Slow down, turn left." Yeah. And he crashed into a building. So that's
basically he overshot is what happened.
And rather than stopping and like, all right, well, let's just go south a little bit and we'll kind of link them together that way. It'll look funky, but at least it'll work as a fence, right? And they go, nah. I mean, we've got like 8 more of these logs to put. Let's just put them up and be done with it, so we can go home and you know, bang our mediocre wives.
It'll keep out savages and rabid animals, right? Yeah, probably not though.
We'll have to build 2 more buildings that will serve as like guard shacks. And rather than having an effective fence, we'll actually just hire people to guard the place. Guard the opening in our fence, which is actually already gaping. Because if you look at the trees in the background, like in the upper left and the upper right there, you can see that like a tree would be able to fit between the 2 giant logs.
Yeah,
right?
I just noticed in the corner there's these like naked people running. Like, are those supposed to be the Indians? Who drew this?
You know what's funny is those Indians are like looking for an opening and they can't find one.
These men are too good at their workmanship.
Clearly, they are masters of the fence. They've determined how to build the most effective fence.
It's like the entrance is right there. It's right behind you.
None of them. They don't ever look back. Indians never look back. All right. So with that, I guess that's probably the end of the episode. V, did you have anything else that you wanted to say before?
No,
it was a funny one. Yeah, I'll agree to that. So go ahead, V.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I appreciate you guys always coming out with our technical difficulties, those of you that stuck around. I know it's like it's not a good show unless we have some sort of technical difficulty. But don't forget to get on the Twitter and follow us if you haven't already. Mike in Manitoba, Jay Coop, you guys are the best. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to add us on Pokemon Go if you haven't already, so I can send you gifts and Don't forget to buy our merch. We've got the new J-Rab shirt out there, so that should be on there too pretty soon. Fucking with your transmission. I guess it wouldn't have been a good show if we hadn't had J-Rab fuck with our transmission today.
Yep. So you get to see this number here. Well, I'm not going to do it because it'll probably jack it up anyways. But the connection between the two, when I connect the two together, there will be a J-Rab in there.
That's right.
So, is that it, V? I like how you're like, make sure that you follow us on social media. Make sure you follow us on Pokemon Go or friend us on Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
You had me at technical difficulties. If that were the case, that would be every one of our episodes, or at least every other one, for goodness sakes. Thank you guys for coming out. If you guys want, I'll make sure that I get that JRAB thing on there on Redbubble tonight or tomorrow morning, and you guys will be able to buy stickers, shower curtains if you're into that. Yeah. And t-shirts and all that cool stuff. And first person who buys a JRAB shirt will get I don't know what I can give you. I don't know what we can have.
Yeah,
maybe I should order some of this merch. So, yeah, I guess I'll blow you.
Tom will suck you off.
First person who has a JRAB shirt or whatever, I'll blow.
We better not say that, because they'll hold us to it like they did with the.
They're like, all right, blow my dick, Tom, and don't puke this time. all right. Too easy. I can do that. Ask me to do a shot. Ugh. No, thank you. Thanks for coming out, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. Gay.
Yeah, gay.
Thanks for sticking it out, regardless of the technical difficulties and all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. I think that's it. What else do we normally say at the end of this? You know what? I did want to say about that promo. So if you didn't catch it earlier, that new promo, that Are You Still Gazing into the Abyss or whatever, I hope you like it, because put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome.
We'll see you guys next week.